Today we're going to paint a still life, but first let me go over materials. First you'll need something to paint on, a few different brushes, a few different paint colors, a pencil, a cup of water and a paper towel. You'll also need a paint palette or something to put paint on. Lastly, you'll need something to paint. Today I picked my aloe plant because that's kind of a fun thing to paint. For the first part of this project, we're going to draw out our composition. We're going to use a pencil to lightly sketch in what we want to paint later. It's not a perfect drawing, but it's a good base for what we want to paint later. Ideally, you want to block in just the main shapes just to get a rough idea of what you're going to paint. And then as you paint, you're going to start to put more detail into it, and you're going to start to get a feel for what you want to have in your painting. The next step is putting your paint out and mixing the colors that you want to use for this project. I recommend using all the primary colors, yellow, blue, and red, and then having white or a black just because you can make different values and you can mix these colors together to get secondary colors. So here's my finished palette, and now we're ready to paint. Now to start painting, I want to block in my lightest colors first. Make sure to include all your highlights when you're doing this. So I'm putting my highlight on the edges and all the places that the light hits. So my highlight's the lightest color, which is white, and then I have my other light colors, which is like a light green and then like a light yellow green. After that, I'm going to put in all of my medium tones. As I'm doing the medium tones, I can start to blend the lightest tones into them. See how we're starting to bring all of our medium tones back into the plant? Getting into all the little spots where those shadows are going to be, and we're going to put some darker tones back into there later. Now we're going to put in our darkest colors. So for the darkest color, I picked a very dark blue-green. So we're going to put our darkest color where all the shadow hits, so like the bottom of the vase, also the base of the plant. When you're doing your own objects, you're going to put it wherever the shadow hits, and then after we put this in, we're actually going to blend it back in with the medium tones by bringing in the medium colors again. So like the very bottom of this is going to be the dark color, and then we're going to bring the medium right into the edges. Now I'm just going back in with my medium tones. Just to add some details, and then I'm going to go back in with my highlights as well. So you could just go back and forth between all the colors and start to really make the details pop in your piece. So I'm just going to go back into some spots. Now that we have the plant done in the foreground, I'm going to go back in and add the floor. Since it's sitting on the floor, I'm just going to do a solid color for the background. So I'm going to do like a solid gray, and then I'm going to start to bring in some blue tones and some whites just to kind of get the texture of the floor, and then I'm going to add some dark shadows. Mixing the gray for the base. Now I'm just going to fill the whole background with this gray color. Now that I have the gray background down, I'm going to start to put in all the little speckles that are on the floor and the shadow. For the shadow, I didn't want to use black, so I made a light blue-gray that I'm going to use to make a shadow on here. For the shadow, I'm going to start at the base of my plant and just kind of put roughly where it's. So I'm just starting to put the shadow in where I see it. So it's not perfect. I'm just kind of having fun with it. Now I'm going to go back with the gray color that I used for a background and just kind of place it around the shadow. And I'm not gonna blend it perfectly, but I'm gonna have a little bit of a blend going on just so it's not super sharp. Just gonna lightly kind of dab them together. So not a crazy blend, but shows you where the shadow is. So now that I have my shadow in, I'm gonna put the little specks that are on the floor. So for that, I'm just gonna dot in random colors of white, black, and dark blue. See, just kind of random and fun. It's kind of fun when you can see the brush strokes too, just because